Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining the EDIAdmin customer webinar. My name is Michael Bailing, and I'll be your host this afternoon. And once again, thank you for joining. First of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to share with everybody in our customer base today where EDIAdmin is as a company as a whole, where we're planning on going and how we're planning on getting there. Most importantly, we're really excited for the opportunity to have this dialogue with our customer base. Really, it is your innovations and your requirements that drive us towards innovation. And it's meetings like this, webinars, and other interactions we have with you that help us continue to drive value for years to come in the relationship. So today, let's cover kind of expectations of what we're going to talk about today. We've got a couple people here at EDIAdmin that I'll talk. I'll introduce them in just a second. But as a whole, we're going to cover, first of all, support process enhancements and how we're taking care of our customer base today and how we're going to look to improve that going forward. We'll talk a little bit about the enterprise solution features within EDIAdmin and the opportunities and options that you as our customer base have to take advantage of with us today. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about the solution roadmap and vision of EDIAdmin as a company as a whole. And then finally, we'll talk about going forward and the best way to continue these dialogues individually as we continue our relationship with you. And then we'll follow that up with a short question and answer session that we will be taking questions directly from the webinar audience today. For introductions, there are three speakers today. First, we have Jeremy Wieland. He's our Director of Managed Services. And as I said, he'll be talking a little bit about our support process enhancements. I'll be taking the middle leg and covering the enterprise solution features. And then Ian Redlin, our President and CEO, will be handling the roadmap and vision. Now, before we get started, I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping and let everybody know as you have questions throughout the webinar, you'll see in the top screen of Zoom, you have the ability to enter a question. Go ahead and type those in during the webinar. We will be answering questions at the end, but we will be able to see that you have a question during that time. Also, after the webinar is complete, we'll be sure to email a link to all the participants. And if for some reason we don't have time to address all the questions at the end, we'll make sure that we follow up with those people individually after the webinar. So once again, thank you for joining. And having said that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jeremy.
All right, thank you, Michael. As Michael said, I get to talk to you today a little bit about the enhancements we have here for the support processes at EDIAdmin. So there's a couple topics I'd like to talk to you about. One would be the zations, and I'll talk more about what that means in the next slides. Talk about how we make things more visible to you as a customer, and then also talk about predictive tracking and proactive actions that we're undertaking here. So talking about zations, and what do I mean by zations? When I say that, I'm talking about organization, which really can be done by the categorization and prioritization of issues that are coming into our support lines here. So how do we do this, or how are we improving it? The reason why we're able to do some improvements is where we have some improved tool functionality that allows us to do more categorization and prioritization. One thing that we are doing with the categorization is putting things into different types of tickets. By doing that, it allows us to report on the different types of tickets individually and see how we're doing. The types of tickets that we are creating are questions, incidents, problems, and change requests. This really does allow us to report better and make sure that we are given the right focus to the right type of ticket at the right times. When I talk about prioritization, we always have tried to work on the highest priority issue as needed. But now with the tools that we have and the processes that we've enabled, we now have a system ability to track these higher priority, these urgent issues, and make sure that we are focusing on them and following up on them as needed. So those things, the organization really leads us into the reporting and the enhanced reporting capabilities that we have available to us due to the fact that we've gotten more organized with our systems. As you can see on the screen here, we have a sample report that has the average first response time for the different types of tickets out there by quarter. We have multiple different ways that we can slice and dice the data and different options, such as the first response time, as you see here, or the resolve time, or the count, or a multitude of different ways that we can slice it. If this is something that would be interesting to you, please contact us after the meeting and we can arrange something, a discussion. Do we want to do something like this quarterly? Is it something we want to do via email? However we want to do it, we can be flexible on that. The other way we can make things more visible to you as a customer is by giving you access to our support portal. As you can see on the screen here, we have a sample of what the support portal looks like. You can get access to all the different tickets that are assigned to your, that are associated with your company. And you can see the open and the closed, as well as the status of any of the open ones out there. It allows you to see where we stand today, where we were in the past, and make sure that we're all in agreement on where we're standing at any given point in time. Lastly, want to talk a minute or two about the predictive tracking and proactive actions that we're taking here at EDIAdmin. So from a predictive standpoint, we know working with technology, there's always going to be times when systems are going to go down. One thing that we've enhanced here, because we know that, is our monitoring of systems. We have our chip tool that allows us to do some of the monitoring that we need out there, as well as some other tools. But this allows us now to be able to see when systems go down and react to them quicker and be more proactive, getting to them faster, make sure everything is back up and running the way that it should be. The other thing I have listed out here for predictive is human workflow. I'm not going to discuss that much at this point because it's going to be covered more by Michael later in the presentation, but it is a fun tool, a very useful tool that can be used for errors that can happen at any time. Going on to proactive, now that we have things organized in our ticketing system and see which issues are out there, we can really look at common errors out there and make sure that we're getting to the root cause of those common errors and making sure that we're not just fixing the surface of any one issue. We are getting down to the bottom and making sure that we are able to not have those same issues over and over again and make sure our systems are more reliable going forward. And when we do that, when we look at that root cause, we also want to make sure that we're doing some collaboration discussion with our customers for those ideal solutions that are out there, making sure that it's not only a solution that works for EDIAdmin the best, but it also works for you, the customer, and we are really working together in this partnership. So those are the topics that I was to cover today. I'm going to turn it back over to Michael, and he's going to cover the enterprise solution features.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. So EDIAdmin was founded in 2002, and at that time, we were primarily a service organization that supported EDI implementations of our own product as well as other products. As you can imagine, over time, that solution has grown. And given that our customer base really has a diverse amount of solutions in place, some small, some large, it's a great opportunity to share as a whole really where we shine right now. So in 2018, 16 years later, EDIAdmin truly is a cloud-to-ground supply chain iPaaS solution, and we deliver that solution via collaborative managed services. Now, as I mentioned before, we really started out on the EDI aspect of that. However, the natural growth of that product has led us really to extend along the entire supply chain. As you can see, as the diagram here shows, that could be anything from your customer, supplier, vendor, community, onboarding those and managing those, integrating then with other third-party applications, whether that's e-commerce systems, marketplaces, retail partners, dropship partners, 3PL, 3PM, and then finally, inside the firewall, which is truly the biggest differentiator from a managed service perspective, we carry that managed service all the way to the ERP. We interact with other applications that you may have internally. And in addition, we interact with both IT and business personnel inside your organization, which we think delivers an unprecedented and unrivaled supply chain solution from a managed service provider. Now, given that's the scope and the field of play where we operate at, the next piece is to talk about how we do that. And the first thing to know from EDIAdmin is that we are a technology company. Our differentiation and our ability to execute really comes down to our technology. In this case is the CHIP platform, our cloud hybrid integration platform, which allows us to implement quicker, better, less expensively, and then in turn manage those solutions ongoing at a better pace. Now, I mentioned before, EDI itself has grown into other features and functionality along the CHIP platform, and that would include things as our customer and vendor portal, our automated vendor onboarding tool and portal in general, where we can completely automate the process of setting up those vendors. Also, a wonderful solution for smaller non-EDI specific vendors that are out there as well, to go ahead and include them into your radar and automation. And you continue along the natural supply chain path, there's additional feature and functionality around our PIM solution, product information management, our OMS solution. There's also a pack slip creation solution called chip ship, excuse me, as well as a number of different tool sets around 3PL and 3PM integration. And finally, the ability to connect to internal systems and applications is another key thing as well. And most people don't know that currently CHIP has the ability to integrate with over 20 plus ERP systems, and the number grows on a monthly basis. As different requirements and new systems are out there, we will continue to add them at a very rapid pace. In addition to that, that would also include a number of, quite honestly, dozens and dozens of different other applications, whether those are warehouse management systems, CRM systems, and other pieces of applications that occur along the supply chain. But in the end, what you see is you have a very robust solution that can tackle problems and provide efficiency and value throughout the supply chain. Now, I did want to focus a little bit more on the internal side, because once again, that truly is the biggest area of differentiation between EDIAdmin and the CHIP solution and other managed B2B platforms that are out there. Now, when we talk about internal integration and automation, we'll go back to some of the core tenets of enterprise integration. And those really fall into these three areas here. The first being process orchestration and automation. That really is talking about not only working with your team and delivering a process flow to manage the B2B data, but more importantly, it's about creating a partnership with our customers to understand the best practices of their organizations and the best way to empower the processes that work inside your four walls. And to be specific, that may be leveraging certain technology, certain processes, or perhaps a certain expertise within your customer base or a shortage in your customer base. For example, if you're a heavy business user organization where your customer service reps have a lot of power, the ability to empower their access to data and to interact with that becomes a key component, as opposed to other systems which are much more automated and attached to other higher levels of automation and technology. The second piece of that is the in-flight data enrichment. So the ability to truly act as traditional middleware, meaning that you can very easily connect via multiple methodologies and ways to third-party applications, to existing code set, to manual processes, and other existing methods of getting information in and out of your system are very, very, very important in terms of providing an end-to-end solution. Now, the final piece of that is really kind of I would call it the cherry on top of the sundae, is the connectivity and visibility. Because if you have technology without a way to access that and to give you information in real time, it's not so much a help as it is a hindrance. So one of the things to really stress on is not only delivering automated solutions end to end, but giving you a way to interact with those solutions, have real-time visibility, and create the look and feel so that your employee base and your vendor base can truly take advantage of the information that they need when they need to take advantage of that. Now, to dive into that a little bit more, I wanted to bring up a specific feature functionality and tell you really how that makes a difference. And this is something that truly is unique to EDIAdmin and CHIP in the managed service area. Nobody else in the market that we're aware of does this, and that is the utilization of human workflow as part of these automated processes. Now, human workflow at its highest level truly is the definition of allowing business users, or could be IT users as well, interacting with automated data feeds. So in this case, let's talk about error handling. If you get orders that are submitted or transactions that are submitted by your vendor base or customer base that have missing information or incomplete information, it's a very common thing, and it's probably the most common request we have in terms of improving and making processes more efficient. And as you can see on the right, over 90% of B2B errors are due to bad or missing data. So it is by far the most common error that happens. Now, without a doubt, it is incredibly common that we walk into organizations that when these errors do occur, even though they have some form of automation and integration, typically this is kicked outside the system and becomes a manual process, not only to identify, but then to go ahead and fix and then resubmit. So obviously there's a number of financial challenges and business challenges associated with these errors, including significant revenue delays, chargebacks, and lost productivity. In the end, what we're finding is that by not including that error handling as part of the normal process, you end up with a very inefficient system. So let's talk about how we address that through human workflow. So within CHIP, error handling is something that can be set up as part of the process orchestration. So for example, we are anticipating errors. We can work with your team to identify what are the most common type of errors, one. Two, who within your organization is best able to not only identify those, but to address those errors. And then three, we are able to create a user experience based on the skill set of that person. Now, for example, if we have a customer service rep who is looking to fix perhaps missing tracking numbers as part of a shipping transaction, we need to know that that person doesn't have the intention necessarily of reading XML or a flat file or anything like that. The information needs to be presented in a human readable format and needs to be very intuitive to what they're doing. Now, on top of that, we need to be able to have routing rules and role-based accounts so we know directly who that needs to be shipped to or directed to and assigned to. Now, that's just the first part of it. The second piece of that is once errors are detected and routed, the ability to track those. So we know, one, not only did we identify it, but two, did we address it in the right period of time? And in fact, as we talk to more and more companies and customers out there today, what we're finding is where those B2B teams are being measured and tracked is not necessarily on the good data that's being processed, but instead on the ability to reduce the amount of time of those errors that are happening inherently in the system. So let's talk about the second piece of that as well, which is dashboards. So really what we're talking about is creating that single pane of glass across your entire organization. This is two things here. One, the ability to create configurable reports based on who needs to see that information, and understanding that dashboards and reports can really have multiple levels involved with them. Everything starting from general activity or health of the system to partner specific activity, all the way down to specific process flows and transaction monitoring itself, where you can actually dig into the root cause of the problem and see the raw transaction data coming across. In the end, what we want to do here is be able to create unique experience based on who's looking at that. And once again, that could be everything from a business user to an administrator, all the way up to a C-level person who just wants high-level information. And if we can show here a couple examples of this. Here's a great example of our human workflow error handling sheet here. And in this case, there's a shipping error list, and you can see there's a couple errors that have occurred. And you can actually see the web form that's been created in this that clearly identifies what's going on. It's been assigned to a specific person. They have a queue associated with it. Once that person is notified, they can then go into this, enter the correct tracking number, and then submit it. Now, once again, unlike other processes where that becomes a siloed process that's kicked out of the system, in this case, these errors are actually in a holding pattern waiting to be corrected. And then as soon as they are, they're submitted to the normal B2B process and integrated into your system. And the one other thing here that I would show you is just a quick example of some of the dashboards that we have available. And once again, in this case, this is one that on the left shows some partner-specific metrics, and then on the right, a little more detail in terms of the transaction level. And once again, different users are going to want to see different things. But in the end, the important thing to remember is you've got full control in terms of configurability, in terms of how you want to view this, who needs to see them, and what it needs to look and feel like. All right. So now let's hand it over to the anchor of the leg of our relay today, Ian.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. So I've got the joy of talking about the solution roadmap and vision of EDIAdmin. So really, EDIAdmin operates on three principles. So we're going to be talking about vision, mission, and value. So our vision really truly is to orchestrate the complex distributed business process flows through integration and collaborative managed services. Now, what are collaborative managed services? That's really where we want to make sure that we engage with our customers more, engage with all of you to ensure that the solutions that we um, provide a method of working together and identifying the ideal solution to help your business process flow. Within the mission, we want to use technology and integration to provide inclusive benefits to our clients and their stakeholders, and all of your business partners. So we're really talking about hitting all of the major supply chain touch points and alleviating any pain points in your process, and really, again, targeting that ideal process. Within value, we really view this as a true partnership where we collaborate with our client base and provide a continuous build of ROI through process improvement and innovation. The goal of this is to increase efficiency internally as well as for the adjacent business entities that you work with on a day-to-day basis. So EDIAdmin has introduced a new concept of cloud to ground. What does this really mean? This is really kind of a new concept in our space, but provides enhanced ability to execute. So this is the concept that we started back in 2006 with the first generation of the managed workflow engine. This allows us to execute and orchestrate a process across multiple environments, across internal systems, and really take advantage of the distributive trends that are in the marketplace together. So we're able to tie together global business units and processes in multiple physical locations. Reimagining the supply chain automation. What we're really talking about here is breaking bad habits and focusing on engaging the business in the automation flow. This again is we're really going to be focusing on ideal business processes. We want to dismantle the overall process and figure out where this might break and how we can assist in the streamlining of that overall process. We want to finish that statement. We should be able to something, right? So we should be able to send a spreadsheet of all of the orders that we receive from a certain customer to the appropriate sales rep each day at the end of the day of business. I mean, really, we want to look at what provides value, what provides you with the information that you need to take good care of your customers as well as grow your business. And finally, we want to innovate your process and enhance beyond the ERP capabilities. We want to get outside of this is the way we've always done it, and really look at how should we do this process. As we move along that flow, one of the main goals that we have is to extend the orchestration beyond the defined boundaries. So this is really, the concept that collaboration will be the key to everyone's success here in competition. We want to share the benefits of EDIAdmin and our technology with your business community partners as well. So we want to improve that relationship between the customers and the suppliers and provide inclusive wins that have benefits not only for your company, but also for your business partners as well. And in order to do that, we want to remove barriers to success. With you and EDIAdmin, we can now do things that we've never been able to do as efficiently as we can now. So looking at distributed iPaaS technology, a really innovative solution to deploy at warehouses in Mexico, Canada, or East Dubuque, wherever you are, we can tie those systems together and make sure that that overall business process flow is uninterrupted and provides additional value throughout that process, and engage all parties of the supply chain to improve the business process, calling out efficiencies and hopefully brainstorming new solutions. So all of this is EDIAdmin's goal to increase your competitive advantages. This isn't just something where EDIAdmin wants to come up with something new and cool. We absolutely do, but it's got to have value and it's got to increase your competitiveness in the marketplace. We want to increase the stickiness of the customers, as well as help your vendors possibly provide better terms, enabling APIs throughout the process, and really helping you to adapt and evolve. So provide scalability, elasticity, and accountability. Really benefit from our diligence working on our technology offering and lend that to your company. So we continue the development of our tool set to address your business challenges. And in order to do this, we really welcome your input, and this is how we all ensure that we stay relevant.
Thank you very much, Ian and Jeremy. So at this time, we want to take a couple minutes and answer a few questions that came our way during the webinar. And in the first one, in the human workflow example you showed earlier, what if there are multiple tracking numbers that need to be entered? And maybe let's have Ian address that one.
Cool. That's a great question. So several times with the customers that we have, you may have a shipment that has thousands of lines, and it may have multiple tracking numbers that are missing from that transaction. So in the case of multiple tracking numbers, there's two different scenarios that we would employ in order to resolve this. Number one is that we can actually have multiple errors listed within this page. So each individual error would have their own form, and you'd be able to essentially sequentially go through those and correct the information as you need to. Now, the second way we can do this is we can really provide a single form that allows you to enter all of the missing tracking numbers with a little bit more information. It's really a configuration on our side to enable a different type of a form here, but you still get into it the same way through this the human workflow interface that we're showing now.
Thank you, Ian. And it looks you're going to be a popular guy on the question side too. We've got a second one here. We have a vendor base that includes small companies. Do you have a solution to help them connect to us?
I guess technologically advanced customers to be able to exchange business transactions, so purchase orders, invoices, ASNs, that kind of thing, in a essentially a portal type of view. The nice thing about this is that it doesn't necessarily require them to be have the ability to integrate, but it does provide them with standard functionality to be able to exchange ASNs, invoices through CSV, Excel spreadsheets, XML, whatever it is, as well as potentially API capabilities as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ian. So we're coming up on a half hour. We want to make sure we wrap this up. We do have a couple questions out there. I want to let everybody know that we will reach out to you after the webinar and answer those directly. So as we wrap up today, I do want to talk a little bit about going forward. How do we continue the lines of communication with our customer base and really tie that into the roadmap here for us and where we're going as a company and the services we're going to deliver? So if there's any questions going forward, we're happy to do what we call business reviews with organizations that we're working with, really walking through account health, solution optimization, and any recommendations that we may have. One of the true benefits and advantages of working with EDIAdmin is you've got years and years of experience of implementing multiple B2B solutions. So there's a lot of best practices out there that we can bring to you. And whether we're delivering those or it's just an internal enhancement, we're happy to provide that information, to provide that service to you. And going forward, we're always open to suggestions, so please feel free to reach out to support, your account rep, or anybody here at EDIAdmin, and we'll make sure to incorporate that and communicate that back to you as quickly as we can. And going forward, as we continue to grow our presence both on our website and in the market as a whole, please anticipate seeing more of these webinars going forward on specific topics, and hopefully including a number of guest speakers as well that we can talk on specific topics that are important to the B2B industry. So having said that, any specific questions on the webinar or whatnot, you can certainly email directly. The email is listed at on the bottom of the page there. And other than that, I want to thank everybody for their time today. I want to thank Jeremy and Ian as well. And we look forward to talking to everybody going forward. Thank you very much.